Merhaba arkadaşlar, kusura bakmayın. Bir su içtim. Hava sıcak. Welcome to my program. Sorry, I had a glass of water. It's a hot weather, and with some lights in the room, it becomes even much more hotter. Thank you for coming again to my program. This week I want to talk about Egypt and in relation with Turkey. In the eastern part of the Mediterranean, there is this moment a debate whether Egypt is going to attend a coalition with Greece and other countries. Why? Because we have been seeing that Egypt tends to align with Greece with the support of the Emirates and Saudis in order to counter the increasing Turkish influence in the Western Mediterranean Sea. Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Now, this is a problem for Turkey, but is it a serious problem for Turkey or not? And this week we want to talk about that. Why Egypt has been choosing this, but more importantly, is the economy in Egypt is increasing, or is it booming, or is it collapsing? Why? Why not? Let's talk about this, because if your economy is good enough, then your military can be able to counter a Turkish navy or influence in the Eastern Mediterranean region. Otherwise, alliance with Egypt is just waste of time. So we just want to start with the Egypt. Since President Sadat and then Mubarak time, they have initiated a neoliberalism economic model. In this model, they want to increase the capacity of the financial institutions by introducing all these free economy, let's say, and by selling the state companies, which at that time is around 314 state companies, and they sold 209 companies out of it. And then we see that all these subsidy programs to the agriculture or farmers and other industries have been cancelled, and they have implemented or placed very much good taxation regulation systems. But then we started by seeing since 2005 up until now that Egypt is getting much more poorer, and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to share all these links to you. Why I'm saying this? Because according to the World Bank, that Egypt gets more poorer since 2005 up until now. At 2005, the national poverty limit was 19.2. So it means out of 100 people, 19 of them lives under or within the poverty limits. Now today, it is 33%. So it's increasing. But the problem is, if it is increasing, then we should be able to see the gross domestic products, which we call it GDP. GDP should also be declining, isn't it? But interestingly, it is increasing. From 2004 up until now, each 4.7%, there's an increase in their GDP. It's up and down, but in average, I'm saying. Now, this tells us something. There is a problem, because whenever your GDP increases, if your people get more poorer, it means this money of this richness is shared by a number of limited people, right? So why I'm saying this? Because I am then looking at the unemployment. Look, the unemployment ratio in Egypt has decreased from 12.8 to 8.1 or 2% within the last 2 years, which is good, isn't it? I mean, out of 10 people, especially in average, I'm speaking from all ages, especially the males, because females, now I'm going to say this again, the labor force participation rate for the females is around 17%. Globally, this is one of the worst one in the world. But again, let's say the participation of the labor force also is a little bit problem. But now let's say from 12.8 to 8.1, the unemployment rate dropped, isn't it? But there's something called a concept called labor participation force. This means out of how many, out of 100 people, how many is intending to find a job? How many is of those 100 people are qualified to find a job, intend to find a job. Now, this is interesting because this has also decreased from 46% or 47%, let's say, in 2017 to 41% recently. So now it's true that the number of unemployment is decreasing, but also it is true that the labor participation force rate has also been decreasing. So it's like this: there is a bunch of basket, and in that basket, before we had 47 people, and out of 47 people, 12 people were unemployed. Now we have only 41%, and only around 8 to 9% are, I will say, unemployed. So there is something wrong here. So they are also playing with the numbers. This also shows that also the labor force that the females are participating is getting lower and lower in also Egypt. While the GDP is increasing, it is really awkward to see these kind of things. Also, the unemployment in the university graduates are also very, very, very high, I will say. Now I'm going to share some also numbers for you from here. Here, yeah. Where is this? 44.6% of the total unemployed people has a university degree. It means that the industries, including the state and the economy, is unable to create jobs for these people. So there are really, I mean, in Egypt, education is not bad, it's really good. But it means that if there are out of each 100 unemployed people, 44 of them is or have a university degree, it's a great problem. So you educate them, you give the school, but you don't give the job. This is the problem with, I read somewhere else about Greece, and I've taken my note here. Yes, it says by Ibrahim Solova, and he said, Egypt, it was able to provide Egyptians with growth, but without equity, education without inspiration, employment without security, health services without care, and voting without any real impact on the social political process. So this is Egypt shortly. And that's why I am saying Turkey, if Egypt choose to align with Greece in order to create an obstacle against Turkish influence in the Eastern Mediterranean, is not a great problem. However, we should also not forget that Egypt has a very long seashore in the southern part of Mediterranean region, and they have modernized their navy or naval power in between 1990s to beginning of 2000s, and they have quite well capability of projecting naval power in the eastern part of Mediterranean. However, having said that, also they need to now start modernizing their not only naval capacity, but also air force capacity, including the land forces. It's not modernized as the Navy at this moment, and even their air force capacity is also a little bit old at this moment. The problem in order to modernize is because they have also a big army, but the economy is not getting well. In order to modernize these kind of things, they need a large GDP. So in order to increase the average income in Egypt, it has been calculated by Robert Springborg that 7% GDP is required. 7%, including the increase in the population, and also have an effect or a normal, steady effect, at least on the income, that the people will start at least feeling that they have their life quality has been improving. This needs to be 7% for the GDP. Now get this. It has been calculated that from now on, at least to a midterm, I will say 5 to 10 years time, the Egypt GDP will be in average 3%. So there's a 4% difference. They are not even in the halfway right now. So that shows that they will be in lack of giving a quality life, not only to the people, but the young people also, which needs to be inspired in order to invest in their own countries, stay in their own countries. Otherwise, the brain immigration will happen, which means that the young people will start to leave the country. And we see that in MENA region, especially Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, there are lots of good technicians and university degree engineers from Egypt. These people will start leaving Egypt. That's why in the long run, in between today to end of 2020s or beginning of 2030s, Egypt is going to lose economic weight, which is going to create a lot of instability in the country. So Egypt should, and Egypt is going to concentrate on these problems, and they will forget about their problems with Turkey in future. Even if they are going to start projecting some kind of naval power against Turkey, in the long run, this cannot be surviving for a long time. That's why we do not consider that Egypt is going to really be a big problem in the mid and long term against Turkey. And we still keep our projections that by end of 2020 or between 2025 to 2030s, Egypt is going to have a quite, I will say, more profound failure will undermine the Egyptian economy and administration. That's why we are going to say it again. Egypt is not going to be a power that Greece or others will or should be relying upon in order to encounter the Turkish influence in the Eastern, I would say, Mediterranean, because it's not possible to do so. That's why we still believe that Turkey is going to increase its influence. In Libya, we have a great success. In Syria, we have already balanced the power balance over there with Russia. And we will see more Turkish influence spreading and going into the south part of the Arab Peninsula and the North Africa in future from now on. But we are going to say it again, we are expecting an unrest in Egypt, not now, not today, not within this year, but between 2025 to 2030s, especially within the Suez region and the south part of Egypt, other than mostly Cairo, because the poverty is going to increase, and this is going to really cause a great deal. Like how the people of Egypt have chosen Morsi in order to fight with these inequalities or imbalances, let's say. The people will find another leader to fight with al-Sisi and his administration if they will choose to do all these things wrong again and again. Anyway, if you like this video, there's a like button underneath the video, and if you subscribe or press on this bell button, you will hear the videos from us firstly. Thank you for watching, be safe, and see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.